In the name of Allah, the Most Merciful, the Most Compassionate. O listener, close your eyes for a moment, calm your heart, and take yourself back into that ancient time when the deserts of Arabia echoed with blowing sand, when the mountains reached toward the heavens, when in the valley of Makkah the arrival of a great light was laying the foundation for a change that would transform the entire universe. When angels descended from the skies to guard the beloved of Allah. It was that time when the Messenger of Allah, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was still a child, being nurtured under the care of his foster mother, Halimah Sa'diyah, R.A. This was not just a story of the past, it was a sign of Allah's divine power, showing that His beloved Prophet was under His special protection from the earliest days of his childhood. Think for a moment, O listener. If you had been there to witness it, your heart would have trembled in awe. This was the event when angels descended to the earth and something extraordinary happened with young Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, something that even today refreshes the faith of believers. When Halimah walked into her home, blessings began to pour upon her household. It was a time of famine. The land was barren, animals were weak, and even the goats that once gave milk stood dry. But from the day Halimah welcomed this orphan child into her lap, her home transformed. Her camel, once the slowest of all, suddenly outpaced the others. Her goats began to give abundant milk, enough to amaze the entire tribe. These were not ordinary happenings. This was the barakah, the divine blessing of the child who was not merely an orphan, but the most beloved of the Creator of the universe. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a symbol of purity and light, even in childhood. One day, while the young Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was playing in the fields with his foster brothers, two strangers appeared suddenly. But they were no ordinary men. They were angels, sent by Allah to purify the heart of His beloved and protect him from any trace of evil or satanic influence. The angels appeared in human form, holding a golden basin filled with water as bright and pure as snow from the well of Zamzam. The children stopped playing, staring in wonder. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam stood silently watching them, while his foster brothers became frightened. They ran back, shouting in panic, "Mother! Mother! 2 men have taken our Qurayshi brother!" Halimah and her husband rushed out in fear, their hearts pounding, unable to imagine that any harm could come to this special child. But the sight that awaited them was beyond human comprehension. The angels had laid Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the ground. They opened his blessed chest, took out his pure heart, the same heart that would later hold boundless love for his ummah, the very heart that would become the source of intercession on the Day of Judgment. The angels washed his heart with water of Zamzam, purified it, and placed it back in his chest, closing it as before. O listener, imagine that moment. How breathtaking it must have been when the angels of the heavens were cleansing the heart of an innocent child, preparing him from the earliest age to become the greatest guide for all humanity. When Halimah and her husband reached, they saw Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam safe, though his face had turned pale, as if he had just experienced something immense. Yet he was silent, calm, and enveloped in light. Halimah's heart trembled with both fear and awe. She held Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam tightly to her chest and wept. Her motherly love was shaken, but deep inside her heart she knew this child was not ordinary. He was Allah's trust, under divine protection. News of this miraculous event spread through the tribe, leaving everyone astonished. What kind of child is this that the angels descend from the sky to purify him? This event is remembered as Shaqq al Sadr, the splitting of the chest. It was a sign that Allah had made his representative pure, innocent, and free from all satanic influence from the beginning, so that when he grew up, his heart would remain filled only with the light of Allah. This story not only shows the greatness of the Prophet ﷺ, but it renews our faith as well. It reminds us that Allah guarded his beloved from childhood, shaping him to be a beacon of light for the world. Ask yourself, if this were just any child, would the angels descend from the heavens? No. This was the child who would grow to become the seal of prophets, the reason for the creation of the universe, the one whose heart was cleansed in childhood so that he could forever be the lantern of divine guidance. Oh, dear listener, this story teaches us that when Allah chooses someone for greatness, He surrounds him with His light and His mercy from the very beginning. Allah honored Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam with a rank and purity unlike anyone else. That is why even today, when we hear this story, our hearts tremble, our faith is renewed, and our eyes fill with tears, realizing how beloved our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is to Allah, that even as a child his heart was purified by the angels. And O beloved listener, if you wish to hear more such faith-refreshing, soul-stirring stories, then subscribe to this channel. Share this story with others so that they too may know the childhood of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and how Allah Himself protected His Prophet from the earliest days of his childhood. Subscribe so that together we may continue to draw light and faith from the priceless events of the life of the Prophet.